Okay. Calling the city council work session to order. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Councilmember Sheldon?
Here.
Dulce?
Here.
Scotchmer?
Here.
Jarzinski?
Here.
Falconer?
Here.
Bonfiglio?
Here.
Enquist?
Present.
Gonzalez?
Here.
And President Brackman.
Okay, is there anyone that would like to address the council this evening? If so, please give your name, address, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes, please. Not 15, 5. We be here all night. 5 minutes.
No, not many show up, so. Paul Wolf, 212 Fulton Street. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We all know I come here and talk about things I've been through. I talk about ordinances and enforcement and whatnot. One thing I want to stress, the owners of these properties do not suffer other than the loss of one income property when we do enforce ordinances. I know this from experience. I had a landlord at 1035 North Main. He repaired the roof, but I guess he didn't get a permit. Building got condemned, but we didn't know what was happening until the sign got slapped up and we got told to get out. So it's the tenants that suffer behind these absentee landlords' neglect. Just want to make that clear. I've been here about specific addresses and conditions in the city in general about trash on the curbs, trash around buildings, whether they're occupied or condemned. I was asked last time I was here how we enforce these ordinances. 160-5, disposal on highways or alleys. Highways are defined in our city code as any street used by traffic, just so we're all on the same page. No rubbish or other waste material shall be allowed by the owner thereof to remain 8 hours after such deposit for pickup. If it is left on such alley or highway of the city, the Director of Public Works is authorized to remove and dispose of the same and charge to the expense of such removal and disposal to the owner or other person responsible for the placing or leaving of such rubbish or waste. It's right in our code, how we enforce these ordinances. When it doesn't get taken care of, the city cleans it up, the city charges the owners. Another one I've addressed is sidewalk maintenance, specifically snow and ice. I found out from the Department of Development when I came in to check on some complaints. First of all, that when the snow melts, even if it snows again, the complaint is closed. Somebody has to get hurt again in order for it to be investigated again. That's not right. Every person, partnership, corporation, joint stock company, or syndicate in charge or control of any building or lot of land within the city fronting or abutting on a paved sidewalk, whether as owner, tenant, occupant, leasee, or otherwise, shall remove and clear away, or cause to be removed or cleared away, snow and ice from so much of the sidewalk as is in front of or abuts on said building lot. Such owner or occupant in each of them shall be liable for any injury or damage by reason of omission, failure, or neglect to make or maintain or repair such sidewalk. Any person violating these provisions of this section may be liable, in addition to the general penalties, to the penalties established in Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1, Penalties. And that was actually updated as of 9/25/2006. I know none of you were probably here then, but maybe some of you were. These things are written in our code, how to enforce them. If I can find them simply by Google and looking at our city code, so can you folks, and we have the offices and the people who run those offices right here in the room who are responsible for said enforcement. We have corporate counsel who is responsible for taking these owners to court when they don't pay the expenses that the Department of Development puts onto their taxes for cleaning up their mess. We tenants, we only do what the property owners tell us. They tell us to put it on the street, they'll have it collected. They don't have it collected, we suffer. We get kicked out. It's in the code. Please start enforcing these things. Don't make us suffer no more. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address council? Please
I do.
state your name and address. And
My name is Larry Kuhn. I live at 215 Fulton Street. Matter of fact, right across from the gentleman that just spoke. I moved into this place. I wanted wanna say in 2024. I have a permit that was hanging on my window of something that was supposed to be done 1/10 of 25. So it's been over a year that this has not been done. This is for a 10 by 10 balcony on my back exit from the house. He put in a sliding glass door that we had to literally block off with 2x4s until this balcony is done. I do understand the permit has ran out, he's gonna have to get a new one. But what about the suffering my family, my dog, and my wife have had to have just because we haven't been able to go out back? We literally had to go out front. The house was burnt when we came up. We came up here for my wife's mother's passing. Got into the house, fixed it up, did what he said. And yet, we still are having problems with said house because he wouldn't listen to somebody that actually knows construction. I left this town 2009 because I wanted to better myself. I wasn't getting what I needed here to be able to pursue and adapt to my construction. So I moved. I went down to Missouri, I've been in Kansas, Arkansas. I've built full houses down there that are still standing. When I tell this architect guy that the last group of council members had on a pedestal, how to do what needed done, he just put a Band-Aid over it, which is what he does in all 70 houses that he has in this town. 70 houses. But yet he's put on a pedestal while all of his tenants are living in hell. Sorry for the language, but that's literally what it is. I have other issues that a lot of people are gonna get in their feelings about. So before I start that, I would like to tell everybody here, keep feelings out of what I'm about to tell you because they're irrelevant. They matter to you as a person, not to every other person. So yes, feelings are valid, but they are only valid to those who have them or who are having them. With that said, I would like to finish the next section. Given that my name is Larry Kuhn, if you look in any dictionary, you can pull them up on your phone. Look at the definition of my name. There's two definitions for it. One, a racist slur, or two, an animal. Okay? With that said, being that it's a technology age, when I put an application in online, I get declined simply because of my last name being known as racist or an animal. Who's gonna hire either one of those? Just so I can make the record straight, no one's white and no one's black. Period. Anybody that passed art class knows that as a fact. Why? Because I have a white and a black glove right here. If I put that white glove on, I'm not white. There's no one in this room that's one of those two colors. No one. I know that because I'm educated. I didn't need a high school diploma to tell me this. All I needed was a GED, a general education diploma. And I'm smart enough to know that the difference in colors matter. They absolutely do. But if we're all the same color and just a different shade, what is the difference? Why do we have to hate somebody because they're not the same color as us? Why? Because somebody told us we have to? I don't hate any human on this planet. What I do hate is people because they're not educated. Until the day the education gets put back where it needs to be, we're going to be stuck in a never-ending loop that killed many societies before us. Do we want to go down that same path, or do we want to actually do something to better humanity? Forget color, forget race, forget all the things that could possibly hinder you. As a human being, we can do whatever we put our minds to.
Mr. Kuhn, you're at 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yep.
there anyone else that would like to address the council?
Doug Champ, 225 Bowling Street, Jamestown. Don't give up on your issues that you need to face. It's important that people come, whether they can accomplish their goals, it's the fact that you participate that's important. We had a long, lengthy discussion in the Public Safety Committee about the resolution in front of you tonight. My real concern is not about the heating, so to speak, and I'm not gonna pretend to talk about it anymore. I can, but it just kind of monotonizes the whole discussion. Heating is a complicated issue at homes in Jamestown, anywhere. It's important that we understand the dynamics of how a house is heated and the variations of how it's heated. For those council people that don't know me, and please excuse me, I sound like embellishing again. I'm trained as an environmental engineer. I built a central heating system, a district heating system in Jamestown. Worked 25 years at the BPU and 10 years at Department of Development. Since that time, I've been involved in projects all over the United States and in Canada, primarily on thermal energy development and the reuse of applications associated with it. So I understand heating completely and how it can be used. So my concern really wasn't with the designation of a degree temperature of 68 degrees. While it being at the lower end of a habitation cycle of being warm, there also is an issue at hand of how that's perceived from house to house. Depends on how the house is heated. I don't want anybody to be cold. I want a tenant to be warm. I want somebody who has children to make sure that they're comfortable. But my problem with that is it opens up a whole discussion of how you enforce it, rather on a complaint versus the mechanical issues associated with how a house is heated, or apartment's heated, or for that matter, a high-rise. The equipment varies, et cetera, et cetera. But my real concern is on future resolutions that come in front of the city council. I can't accept as a citizen in an age of cost surveillance, specifically measured out in the mayor's State of the City message about taking a close examination of return on investment and the cost of operating the city. Every resolution that comes in front of you has a cost element. It can't be claimed as non-applicable. The fiscal responsibilities, like environmental responsibilities or social responsibilities, all have impacts. So if you put down a resolution that has NA attached to it as a fiscal cost, which means not applicable, it is applicable. Every resolution has a financial cost. So what you've got to gather through in these resolutions when you approve them, or in some cases you don't, you've got to determine whether or not the cost to implement equates to the cost of doing it. So in this resolution, there's no cost attached to it, and quite frankly, what I would do is table it and send it back to Department of Development to put a cost factor associated with implementation of these new code statements. In order for that to happen, it has to be part of a policy of looking at how can we lower the cost if we have associated costs to a project or a program. There's always cost to it. It was cost to present it tonight. It was cost for you to be here, et cetera, et cetera. So my point with that resolution is more so with identifying fiscal responsibility to the community and fiscal responsibility to the council. So where you go from here is up to you. As far as the heating goes, I think it's okay. It's under control. The Department of Development explained that they're going to kind of watch over the people who are in these places that they're not being heated properly. And that's a valid point. But the point is this, is that the implementation of heating within a variations of structures is marred in opportunities that are different. Whether you have electric heating, whether you have gas heating, whether you have hydronic heating, a variety of sorts of heating, they all have cost factors associated with how you operate. In other words, if you lower the temperature from 68 to 64, actually you would have less heat loss in a house because the boiler doesn't cycle all the time. So anyway, that's my point on this resolution in front of you tonight. And I appreciate what the Department of Development does. I'm not here to tell them that they're not doing a bad job. I just want more kind of understanding that when you go into enforcing something, there are degrees of enforcement that have got to have a weighted value associated with it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the city council tonight? Yes.
If I may.
Yes.
My wife, along with other folks, do watch the live stream, and they also watch the YouTube videos. They have let me know or asked me to say something about the sound. It's really hard to hear once the videos are posted. If we could do a transcription or something, that would be great, or just some kind of better microphone, that'd be awesome. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Okay, we'll go into our standing committees. Councilwoman Jamestown for housing.
Thank you, Madam President. For housing today, Crystal introduced us this flyer by Home Housing Opportunities Made Equal. They're going to be putting on a free training for landlords on March 10th from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Prendergast Library, with, Q&A, fair housing laws, and protected classes, basically kind of like a training for landlords in the community. So she gave us that to distribute as we see fit. And then we also had code updates from Casey as well, just kind of going over updated codes, what's added to make them easier to understand, easier for residents to understand, and things like that. So that was it for housing.
All right, thank you. Finance, Councilman.
In the Finance Committee, we just had one resolution for tonight, which passed. Whereas the City of Jamestown has agreed to transfer the property at 17 Deering Avenue to the Jamestown Urban Renewal Agency for no dollars and no cents. This is an older home that seems to be in pretty good shape and would be a good candidate for the 19A program. So it's being transferred for Jura so that then it can be marketed in order for that to take place.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, was there any questions or comments in regards to the report from housing? Any questions or comments on the report for finance?
I have a couple more things to add.
Okay.
Erica reported that with the collection of taxes, they've collected over 78% of the taxes so far this year, which is a little behind where we're normally at. It's normally 80%, and that adds up to about $330,000. Secondly, good news from the sales tax revenue. It's almost 21% over last year for the December report. They're continuing to prep for the 2025 audit and doing a specific audit on the SAFER program. That's being looked at in a couple of areas.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yes.
Erica, what's that come out to in dollars? 21%.
The 20.9, over 2 million. I think last year's December was 20 million, or 20 million, 2 million, 29, there's the 29. So I think it's be 20%, 20.9% above that, assuming that there's, that's the county percent, as long as there's no change in the allocation from the city or anything. It's I should know later this week what the actual number is. So as kind of like a swag, that's what I would say.
What's the deadline for taxes to be paid? It's come and gone?
So to be paid without penalty,
No.
they were
Yes.
due January 31st. They go up 1% in penalty each month that they go unpaid. And then March 31st is the last day for regular collection in the office. and then they get turned over to Chautauqua County.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Councilman Ghost, you wanna give us an update on public safety?
Thank you, Madam President. We had the same resolution on the code updates. I think you all received a copy of those. They look like that. And the red is the ones that have the changes to them. Again, some of the basically fencing, parking, properties, and again, we talked about the heat, some additions to the compost. Again, most of these changes are things that are already there or assumed or written in. This gives a little bit more clarity, a little more specifics to it. So again, go through it. It did pass in public safety, it did pass committee, so it will be on the agenda in 2 weeks to vote on these updates. I don't know if you guys, that's probably pretty much it.
Couple typos, I fixed them already in my office, so if you see them, ignore them.
Okay. Is that the one where the red was crossed out?
Yes, it's town instead of city.
Gotcha, I thought that. So, again, anytime we have those, just for the new people, you'll notice that when something is in red, that means it's a change or an addition to, so that's kind of, you can read through those if you haven't seen them all. And that passed through, and then the only other thing, we did talk about the change for the local law from the police chief, from director of public safety to back to police chief, and having a separate police chief and a separate fire chief. So just a little bit of the history on that. Back in the early 2000s, it was changed to have a director of public safety who was the police chief / director of public safety, who then had the umbrella over both departments. And there was a deputy chief for fire. And now we're going back to the original way. There's some cost savings to that, changing the way the salaries are in that. So because it's a local law, it will be read into the record next, in 2 weeks. It's automatically tabled for a month, and then it'll be voted on in the March session, unless there's a letter of necessity from the mayor, which at this point there hasn't been. So again, just kind of restructuring the departments is kind of going back to more of the traditional way that we did it before with a police chief and a fire chief. Anything else I had? Pretty much it?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Any comments, questions? We're good?
And I think
Was that
that
it?
was it. And we had one concern from a constituent that will be addressed by the chief. And that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Public Works, Councilman Evans.
Thank you, Madam President. So for Public Works, we discussed, Mark brought us up to speed about the speed limit adjustments and where we stand with that. Price points, very happy to hear some of the numbers that were coming out of that. We're looking at an estimate between $14,000 and $16,000 to change the speed limit signs citywide, to get that implemented if we go that route. To lower the speed, again, trying to make the streets safer for everyone that resides here. We also talked about the Safer Streets for All update, and lastly, we received a channel maintenance update over there by the river, McCray Point. And so Mark gave us a lot of good information that came out of it, and we discussed that at length. We are asking for the public's input with the Safer Streets for All initiative. We are asking for the public to actually talk about some of the intersections where they feel could be would be beneficial for the city to take a look at. If they feel like we could use a stop sign there or some other intervention that the city can provide, we're asking for public input at those things.
So there will be some public meetings for the Safer Streets?
We really need public input on it because the public, I mean, I don't drive every single street in the city of Jamestown. I don't walk every single street in the city of Jamestown. So, you know, I have my normal commute, my normal thoroughfares, so I don't see everything. And sure, that's human nature, right?
Yeah, I had a constituent reach out about Faulkner Street, where that fatal pedestrian accident was.
Yeah, that was on the list. We talked about that. Faulkner and Sturgis, we're taking a look at South Avenue, White Hill, Brooklyn Square. There were a couple other intersections that Mark had brought up that we're taking a look at. So trying to, again, make it safe for the individuals that are walking sidewalks and individuals that are driving down our streets.
So what's your plan to get the public's engagement?
Like to have the public actually show up to the public safety or public works committee and talk to us about what they'd like to see. Love to have them put that in, or shoot, send me a text message. My phone number's on the city website. I'll take those text messages all day.
Okay.
You know.
Right now, I didn't know what your thought process was as far as involving the public.
Yep.
There will be some upcoming opportunities for public engagement
Okay.
at the meetings as well.
Yeah.
Those will be announced soon.
Okay. Wonderful. Is that it?
That's it. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, any questions or comments for Public Works? Alright. Well, our mayor is traveling today. Should be out this week, so basically there's really no updates. She just wanted to make sure that I stated about the state of the city as far as the emails being sent out, so we all should receive those. I believe it's also on the website. Yep. For anybody else that would like to read it, so, and I think, Councilman Doltz mentioned it, next Monday there is no meeting due to the holidays, so our next meeting will be on, I believe that's about the 26th of February? 23rd, yes it is, the 23rd of February, that'll be our voting session, so that'll be our next meeting. If there's nothing else, there are at least 5 items for executive sessions, nothing that's going to require a resolution at this time, but corporate counsel, Ellen?
Yes, I will need Erica, Crystal. Yes, Mr. Richardson.
And those are under
Yeah.
They
What
are
are they
under
under?
Yeah.
negotiations,
They're under what, Tony?
contractual negotiations.
Negotiation, contracts and negotiations, yes.
One,
We have to stay.
Sorry?
No
Just
action?
have to make sure.
No action?
No action. You make a motion, I make a motion to go into executive session. You